How often have you felt overlooked, like your presence was barely a ripple on the surface of others' lives? Imagine stepping into a room and commanding silent respect, not through loud words or grand gestures, but through the sheer force of your character. This isn't about superficial charisma or playing a part to seek attention. Instead, it's about cultivating the authentic, unwavering presence that Stoic philosophy teaches, a presence that others instinctively recognize and value deeply. In this journey, you'll discover 10 time-honored strategies, rooted in Stoicism, that transform not only how others perceive you, but, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. True influence and respect are cultivated within, emerging as a natural force. Each strategy we'll discuss is like a stepping stone, guiding you through the teachings of ancient Stoic masters, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and applying them in modern life. Are you ready to uncover these strategies? Imagine how you'll feel, fortified with clarity, calm, and purpose. Embrace this journey, and let's begin with the first foundational step, embracing authenticity. 1. Embrace authenticity. What does it mean to live with authenticity? In the realm of Stoicism, it means embracing our true nature and principles, not for outward approval but for inner integrity. When we live authentically, we not only embody our values, but project a genuine self that others can sense, respect, and ultimately value. Consider this. In a world constantly urging us to conform, authenticity becomes a radical act of courage. Instead of succumbing to external pressures to fit an image or play a role, we allow ourselves to embody the person we are meant to be. When Epictetus reminds us, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly," he speaks to the essence of self-understanding and authenticity. But how can we achieve this? To live authentically, we must be unafraid of self-reflection. Ask yourself, what drives me? What do I value deeply, and how can I bring that into my actions? For instance, imagine a creative professional who felt pressured to follow market trends. While financially successful, they felt unfulfilled. Only when they dared to explore their true style did they find not only personal satisfaction, but also newfound respect from those around them. This shift wasn't about altering public perception, but aligning with their deeper self. In Stoicism, authenticity also invites us to shed the need for approval. Does that mean disregarding others entirely? No. Instead, it's about setting priorities. Are we living to fulfill our virtues, or are we performing for validation? When we release the need for praise, we find a profound freedom that attracts others, not because we seek their approval, but because they sense the strength of our self-assurance. Authenticity, then, requires honesty, especially with ourselves. It's the courage to acknowledge both our strengths and flaws, to work on ourselves while remaining grounded in who we truly are. When we practice this level of self-honesty, we create a powerful foundation for every relationship in our lives. Those who value us do so genuinely, recognizing the real person, not a mask or persona. Imagine what might change if you fully embraced your authentic self. What new connections could you foster? What paths might open up, both within and around you? Authenticity at its core is not just about standing out. It's about deeply connecting with the world and inviting others to see us as we are. As we move forward, remember that authenticity sets the groundwork for a life of fulfillment. Yet, authenticity alone is not enough. In the next step, we'll explore the art of maintaining calm and composure, another vital quality that enhances your presence and brings a lasting sense of respect from those around you. 2. Cultivate calmness and composure. In times of pressure and stress, how do you react? Are you quick to anger or frustration, Or can you maintain a sense of calm despite the storm? In Stoicism, calmness is more than just a reaction. It's a cultivated state of mind. It represents the wisdom of being able to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When you embody calmness, others sense your inner strength and naturally gravitate toward you, seeing you as a pillar of stability in a chaotic world. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." These words hold tremendous power. Imagine entering a heated situation, a meeting at work where tempers flare, or a family dispute where emotions run high. Rather than reacting defensively, take a moment to breathe, observe, and assess the situation with a clear mind. How often do we find that, by simply delaying our response, we prevent unnecessary conflict and gain a deeper understanding of the issue at hand? This is not an easy practice, especially in our fast-paced society, where every moment seems to demand immediate reaction. But by nurturing composure, you create a silent strength that others respect and admire. Think about it. How do you feel around someone who remains composed in the face of adversity? There's a natural attraction to such individuals because they exude confidence and control. When you embody calmness, you create an atmosphere of trust and respect. To cultivate this quality, try practicing mindfulness and awareness of your emotions. Pay attention to moments when you feel a surge of anger or frustration and consciously choose to pause. Ask yourself, what is within my control here and what is not? As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wisely noted, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By focusing on what we can control, our response, we free ourselves from the grip of negative emotions. Calmness is also a practice of perspective. When faced with a challenge, rather than seeing it as a threat, can you view it as an opportunity for growth? Consider the story of a leader navigating a crisis. Instead of giving in to fear, they chose to remain composed, communicated clearly, and inspired confidence in their team. This composure didn't come from a lack of emotion, but from the ability to direct those emotions wisely. Reflect for a moment. How would your relationships change if you practiced calmness in difficult times? What would happen if, instead of reacting, you took a pause and allowed yourself to respond thoughtfully? This Stoic practice not only deepens your relationships, but also transforms your inner world, providing you with a wellspring of peace that remains unaffected by external events. The journey to calmness and composure is a lifelong one, as Stoicism reminds us. Each time you choose calmness over chaos, you strengthen your inner foundation. This stability is magnetic, drawing others to you and inspiring them to find their own calm in a turbulent world. But calmness is only one piece of the puzzle. Next, we'll explore another critical aspect of building lasting respect: valuing your time. 3. Value your time. Do you truly value your time? Consider this. Time is the one resource that, once lost, cannot be regained. It is finite, precious, and irreplaceable. In Stoicism, time is seen as a sacred asset, one that should be guarded and used with intention. When we respect our own time, we set a powerful precedent for others to respect it as well. Imagine a day where every moment aligns with your priorities, where your actions are intentional, and your energy is preserved for what truly matters. This is not an idealistic vision. It's a practice that Stoics emphasize deeply. When you value your time, you implicitly communicate to others that you are mindful of how and with whom you spend it. The respect you show to your own time naturally attracts others' respect in return. To practice this, start by reflecting on how you currently spend your time. Are there activities, habits, or even relationships that consume your time without adding value? Do you find yourself saying yes to commitments that drain you simply out of obligation? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. By prioritizing time, you prioritize life itself. Valuing time also means setting boundaries. Stoicism teaches that we have limited control over many things, but our choices about how we spend time are entirely ours. Setting clear boundaries, whether it's declining a meeting that doesn't align with your goals or carving out time each day for personal growth, reflects respect for yourself. It's a quiet, powerful statement that your time is valuable and should be spent wisely. Think about a day where every activity aligns with your values and contributes to your personal growth. How would that day feel? Picture it as a sequence of purposeful moments, each one nourishing you or bringing you closer to your goals. When we become discerning about our time, we find that life gains clarity and depth. We feel less scattered, more focused, and, importantly, more present. Now, valuing time doesn't mean isolating yourself from others or avoiding responsibilities. On the contrary, it's about engaging meaningfully with what truly matters. A Stoic approach to time encourages us to ask, is this moment spent contributing to a life well lived? This awareness helps us avoid distractions and make decisions that honor our time and our purpose. By valuing your own time, you inspire those around you to respect it as well. People will sense your commitment to purposeful living and naturally follow suit, making your time with them more meaningful. Imagine a world where everyone respected each other's time as much as their own. Relationships would be richer, interactions more genuine, and life fuller. As you consider this, ask yourself, how can you begin valuing your time more today? Could it mean prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, or simply saying no to distractions? Each small act of prioritization builds a life of intention and clarity, making every moment count. With a newfound respect for your own time, let's move on to the next step, one that focuses on deepening connections through the art of listening. 4. Practice active listening. Are you truly listening when others speak? Listening deeply is a rare skill, especially in a world filled with distractions. In Stoicism, active listening is more than a courtesy. It's a practice of humility, presence, and respect. When we listen with genuine interest, we create connections that are far more meaningful and lasting. Active listening communicates that we value others, and in turn, they begin to value us more deeply. Imagine a conversation where you are fully present. No wandering thoughts, no preparing your next response. In this moment, you are there solely to understand the person speaking. It's a simple act, but one that most people rarely experience. When we listen with an open mind, without judgment or agenda, we allow the other person to feel seen and understood. This is the essence of connection. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Active listening embodies this principle, shifting our focus from self-centeredness to understanding. When you genuinely listen, you aren't merely collecting information, you're showing empathy and cultivating respect. But how can we become better listeners? Begin with awareness. Notice the moments when your attention drifts or when you're tempted to interrupt. Instead, remind yourself that listening is an opportunity to learn, not only about others, but also about yourself. By controlling your impulse to speak, you strengthen your self-discipline, a core Stoic value. Active listening also involves observing nonverbal cues, body language, tone, and expressions. These subtle signs often reveal emotions that words alone cannot express. For example, a friend may tell you they're fine, but a downward glance or a heavy sigh may tell a different story. When you observe without interrupting, you foster a space where people feel safe to share their true selves. Imagine how your relationships would change if you practiced this level of attentiveness. How would your friends, family, and colleagues respond if they knew they could count on you to be a safe, open presence. In an age where people feel unheard and overlooked, the ability to truly listen becomes a beacon of compassion and respect. Practicing active listening doesn't mean you'll always have to offer solutions. Sometimes, people just want to be heard. When you listen without judgment, you give them space to process their thoughts. In the silence between words, you create room for reflection, both for them and for yourself. This quiet understanding forms bonds that words alone cannot achieve. Reflect on this. How often do you listen merely to respond rather than to understand? What would change if you approached each conversation as a chance to learn, without needing to steer the dialogue? By making a habit of active listening, you'll notice that others are drawn to your presence, finding comfort in the acceptance and openness you provide. As we close this exploration of listening, consider its broader impact on your life. When you listen actively, you nurture humility and foster respect. Those around you will naturally value your presence, sensing the empathy and depth you bring to every interaction. Now, having established the importance of listening, let's delve into the foundation of all meaningful relationships: self-care. 5. Self-care as a foundation for respect. How often do you view self-care as a prerequisite for caring for others? In Stoicism, self-care is not an indulgence or a luxury. It is a responsibility and an act of respect toward oneself. By tending to our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being, we build a foundation from which we can genuinely support others. When we are well, we project a quiet strength that others recognize and respect. Self-care in the Stoic sense is about balance and self-awareness. It is knowing what our body and mind need and making choices that align with our purpose and values. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." This insight reminds us that how we care for ourselves, our thoughts, health, and habits ultimately shapes the quality of our lives and the lives of those around us. To practice self-care, start with self-awareness. Ask yourself, what are my physical needs? Am I getting enough sleep, eating nutritious foods, and moving my body in ways that bring strength and vitality? Physical wellness is not about vanity. It's about having the energy and resilience to meet life's challenges. When we respect our physical health, we also respect the people in our lives by showing up fully present and energized. But self-care extends beyond the physical. Mentally, it requires us to recharge and nurture our spirit. This might mean reading, meditating, journaling, or pursuing personal interests. Ask yourself, how often do I make time for activities that restore my peace and clarity? In Stoicism, this inner balance is crucial. Epictetus taught that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. By nurturing our inner world, we cultivate a sense of fulfillment that isn't dependent on external circumstances. Consider this. How do you feel after dedicating time to your own growth and wellness? There is a subtle but powerful shift that occurs when we prioritize self-care. We become more grounded, more resilient, and less susceptible to external pressures. This inner strength is not only beneficial to ourselves, it radiates outward, affecting everyone we encounter. Those around us will feel our calm presence, sensing the respect we hold for ourselves, which in turn invites them to hold us in similar regard. In relationships, self-care also means setting healthy boundaries. We cannot be of service to others if we are constantly drained or overextended. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our energy and time are limited resources. Therefore, we must use them wisely. Boundaries help us protect these resources, ensuring that we have the capacity to give fully and authentically. When we set boundaries, we are communicating that our well-being matters, and this act of self-respect fosters mutual respect from others. Imagine a scenario where you consistently neglect self-care. Perhaps you are always saying yes to others' demands, or you sacrifice sleep for endless work. Over time, this path leads to burnout and resentment, affecting your relationships and well-being. Now, contrast that with a life where self-care is a non-negotiable priority. By nurturing yourself, you bring greater compassion, patience, and joy into your connections with others. Which version of yourself would you want to offer to the world? Reflect on this. How can you begin integrating more self-care into your daily routine? Is there an area in your life, physical, mental, or emotional, that needs more attention? Start with small, consistent steps, knowing that each act of self-care strengthens the foundation of respect you hold for yourself. Others will sense this change, recognizing that you are someone who values their own worth and, by extension, values the connections you make. With a strong foundation of self-care in place, let's turn now to a practice that keeps us growing throughout life: lifelong learning. 6. Embrace lifelong learning. How committed are you to learning, not just for knowledge, but for the enrichment of your character? In Stoicism, lifelong learning is a commitment to growth, resilience, and adaptability. It's about continuously refining your understanding of the world, your principles, and yourself. When we embrace a spirit of learning, we deepen our value, not just in what we know, but in who we become. Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This philosophy pushes us to view life as a school, where every experience, success, or setback is an opportunity for growth. Learning is not about accumulating information. It's about cultivating wisdom that shapes our responses to life's challenges. Think of it this way: knowledge fills the mind, but wisdom fortifies the soul. Consider how lifelong learning impacts your self-respect. By committing to self-improvement, you send a message to yourself and to others that you are someone who values growth. This respect for learning becomes evident in your actions, making you a source of insight and inspiration to those around you. People naturally gravitate toward individuals who show an active interest in life, and by cultivating this interest, you invite others to respect and value your presence. To begin this practice, ask yourself, where can I expand my understanding? Are there areas of my life where I feel complacent? Lifelong learning doesn't require grand gestures. It might involve reading, exploring new hobbies, engaging in meaningful conversations, or reflecting on past experiences. This openness to learning strengthens our resilience and prepares us for the inevitable challenges of life. Embracing learning also means embracing failure as a teacher. When we stumble, it's easy to fall into self-criticism. Yet, Stoicism teaches us that setbacks are simply part of the learning process. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle, every failure, can be a stepping stone if we approach it with curiosity and a desire to learn. As you reflect on this, consider what adopting a lifelong learning mindset might look like for you. Could it be a deeper exploration of Stoic principles, a new skill that challenges you? The act of learning itself instills humility, reminding us that there is always more to understand and experience. This humility, grounded in curiosity, builds respect from others who see you as someone always willing to evolve. With a commitment to lifelong learning in place, let's move to the next strategy, a practice that adds depth and intrigue to every interaction: discretion. 7. Practice discretion and restraint. Have you ever considered the power of silence? In an era that encourages constant sharing and transparency, discretion has become a rare virtue. Yet, Stoicism teaches us that true strength often lies in restraint. By practicing discretion, we protect our inner life, create intrigue, and communicate a profound sense of self-respect. Think of the wisdom in Seneca's words. Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life. Discretion is a quiet form of respect for oneself, as it shields us from the unnecessary risks of overexposure. Imagine yourself in a social or online setting, feeling the impulse to share personal thoughts, details, or achievements. Before you act, pause. Ask yourself, does sharing this serve my long-term well-being? Does it align with my values? In practicing discretion, you create a sense of mystery that draws others toward you. People are naturally curious about those who do not reveal everything at once. This intrigue fosters respect and interest. When we guard our thoughts and actions carefully, we demonstrate an inner strength that others notice and admire. This restraint is not about hiding or pretending, it's about sharing selectively and wisely. Discretion also builds trust. By choosing carefully what we disclose and to whom, we convey reliability and self-respect. People trust those who are careful with words and actions because they understand that such individuals value their own boundaries. Consider how much more respect you would hold for someone who shares only what is necessary, instead of someone who divulges every detail of their life. This respect is mutual. When others see you as someone who exercises discretion, they feel safe sharing their thoughts and feelings with you as well. Reflect on your own interactions. Are there areas where you could practice more restraint? Could you benefit from choosing silence over unnecessary words? By practicing discretion, you give yourself space to reflect, to observe, and to understand. In that space, you cultivate a deeper wisdom that makes you a steady presence in any setting. Now that we've covered the value of discretion, let's turn to a complementary practice that fortifies our relationships and inner life: the art of receiving. 8. Embrace the art of receiving. Do you find it difficult to accept help, compliments, or kindness from others? Embracing the art of receiving is a practice rooted in Stoicism that requires humility, gratitude, and a recognition of our interconnectedness. To receive gracefully is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it is an acknowledgement of our shared humanity. The Stoics remind us that we are not isolated beings. We exist within a web of relationships, depending on and supporting one another. By accepting help or kindness from others, we honor this interdependence. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This perspective invites us to accept the generosity of others without arrogance or guilt, recognizing that life is richer when we allow others to contribute to our well-being. Consider how often we dismiss compliments or downplay the kindness others offer. Perhaps we feel unworthy, or maybe we don't want to appear needy. But by rejecting these gestures, we deny others the joy of giving and ourselves the strength that comes from connection. When we learn to receive, we practice humility and openness. This, in turn, builds a sense of respect and solidarity. Think of a time when someone offered you genuine praise or support. How did you respond? If you felt the urge to dismiss it, consider the underlying beliefs that may have led you there. Stoicism encourages us to see life as a shared journey, where each act of giving and receiving strengthens our bonds. When we receive openly, we contribute to a culture of generosity and gratitude, where kindness flows freely between individuals. Accepting help or compliments can also be an act of courage, as it requires vulnerability. In allowing ourselves to be open to the kindness of others, we foster deeper relationships. This practice not only builds respect from others, but also deepens our self-respect, as we recognize the worthiness of our own presence. Reflect on how embracing the art of receiving could impact your life. Can you imagine how your relationships might transform if you allowed others to support you without resistance? By practicing this form of acceptance, you not only build a network of support, but also encourage others to receive and give openly, enriching the lives of everyone involved. 9. Maintain a sense of mystery. Do you reveal too much of yourself too quickly, or do you keep a part of yourself reserved? In Stoicism, There is a deep respect for the inner life, a place within that is kept private and protected. Maintaining a sense of mystery is not about deception, but about recognizing the value of preserving your inner world, allowing others to gradually discover you over time. Mystery creates intrigue. It draws people in, inviting them to learn more without revealing everything at once. Imagine meeting someone who doesn't feel the need to disclose every detail of their life. This reserved nature piques curiosity and builds respect. When we keep part of ourselves for ourselves, we honor our own complexity and uniqueness. The Stoics remind us that our essence is not something to be diluted or overexposed. Rather, it is a source of strength and stability. Seneca once observed, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." Genuine connections arise not from immediate openness, but from a slow, unfolding discovery. By maintaining a sense of mystery, you create a space for relationships to deepen naturally, built on mutual respect and understanding, rather than rushed intimacy. This approach is not about hiding who you are. It's about sharing selectively, revealing aspects of yourself over time. This restraint not only preserves your personal dignity, but also builds stronger, more enduring relationships. People appreciate those who are thoughtful in what they share, sensing an inner richness that they're eager to explore. Ask yourself, is there value in keeping certain aspects of your life private? How might your relationship shift if you allowed others to learn about you gradually? By honoring your inner life, you cultivate a presence that others respect and cherish, as they understand that knowing you is a privilege that unfolds over time. With this sense of mystery intact, we now arrive at the heart of Stoic practice, resilience and endurance. 10. Build resilience and endurance. In the face of adversity, how do you respond? Do you see challenges as burdens, or can you view them as opportunities for growth? Stoicism teaches that resilience and endurance are qualities we must cultivate deliberately. By learning to face hardships with strength and acceptance, we build a character that others not only respect, but also rely upon. The Stoic perspective on resilience is grounded in a simple but powerful truth. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. This understanding frees us from unnecessary suffering. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Resilience is not about denying pain or pretending that hardships don't exist. It's about choosing to grow through every experience, no matter how difficult. Building resilience begins with acceptance. Instead of resisting what we cannot change, we embrace it as part of our journey. This acceptance allows us to conserve our energy for what truly matters: our actions, our thoughts, and our character. Each time we endure hardship with a steady mind, we strengthen our ability to remain calm and centered, even when life tests us. Imagine a tree standing firm in a storm. Its roots run deep, keeping it steady despite the harsh winds. Our resilience works in much the same way. By grounding ourselves in our principles and values, we remain steadfast in the face of life's challenges. This strength not only benefits us, but inspires those around us, showing them that difficulties can be faced with grace and courage. To cultivate resilience, engage in regular reflection. Each day, consider the challenges you faced and how you responded. Did you remain true to your values, or did you let circumstances dictate your actions? By learning from each experience, you grow stronger, more adaptable, and more equipped to face future hardships. How might your life change if you approached each obstacle as a stepping stone to greater wisdom? Resilience, in Stoic terms, transforms adversity into opportunity, teaching us to see life's trials as a path to self-mastery. When others witness this strength, they are drawn to you, finding comfort and inspiration in your unwavering presence. Through these 10 strategies, you've explored the Stoic path to a life of respect, resilience, and purpose. Each step, from embracing authenticity to building endurance, strengthens the foundation of your character, allowing you to cultivate a presence that others value deeply. True influence is not about demanding attention, but about quietly embodying principles that naturally draw others toward you. Reflect on these strategies and consider how they align with your own journey. Are there areas where you could grow? Practices that resonate more deeply? Remember, Stoicism is not a set of rules to be memorized, but a path of ongoing self-discovery and refinement. It invites us to engage with life, to be present, and to find strength within ourselves. Now, as we conclude, I invite you to join the conversation. Share your thoughts below. Which of these strategies will you start with, and how do you plan to apply them in your life? If this exploration of Stoic principles resonates with you, like this video, subscribe for more insights, and share it with others who might benefit from the wisdom of Stoicism.